Welcome back to the program. So, what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to have two segments. I'm going to have one about 20 minutes, and the first one is going to be about 30 minutes or so. And the one that you're going to see after this one, or first, I should say, is Tucker Carlson. Now, I'm not a huge fan of him anymore for obvious reasons, but I have to say he did a pretty darn good investigation into who is Thomas Crooks. So, if you haven't seen it, you're going to see it in its entirety in segment one. But first, let's talk about Eric Fartswell once again. So we already now know that he's criminally referred for mortgage fraud, insurance fraud, investment fraud, all kinds of different frauds. And quite frankly, that might be the tip of the iceberg, because mortgage fraud might not be his only issues and problems. He may have a lot of other problems, like Fang, perhaps, in the future. But I want to go through this because this leads to his character, number one. But number two, this is from his divorce back in 2010. It really does show a lot about who this guy is, how cheap he is, how stupid he is, emotionally dumb. He's literally like a low IQ type of person. He apparently is getting his money from somewhere, because it certainly isn't from Congress. But anyway, I digress. Let's go into this, and then I'm going to talk about something else here after this one. So Eric Fartswell, right, Swallows Well, has made a point to position himself as this high-profile, President Trump critic, and he's going to be the number one enemy for Trump, and he's going to attack him and do all this other stuff. Well, you want to probably be really careful who you're attacking, especially the Department of Justice and the FBI and the president, who has been attacked brutally and viciously for well over 10 years. Probably not a smart idea, again, leading to his lack of intelligence. Well, we all know what happened to him, but check this out, okay? This is coming from his divorce proceedings in 2010. Eric Swalwell's public scandal didn't just come out of thin air. They were foreshadowed in his comedic and confused 2010 summary dissolution of his public divorce agreement with his first wife, Melissa Jane Miranda. It reads like two toddlers fighting over broken toys at a garage sale, all right? It truly does. And it's very petty. There's stunning revelations of still financial decisions and debt and things like that. But I'm going to go through it right now. Okay. So California, for the most part, has a pretty easy divorce thing. And it's an easy divorce pass. It's not anything that's complicated or convoluted. Although I guess if you had a transtestical child, they'd probably take the child away to the parent that won't acknowledge the fact that they're a boy or a girl. But I digress. Anyway. They married in 2007. They separated in 2009. No children, nothing. Okay? And quite frankly, not many assets either. But what should have been a very clean and simple dissolution of marriage instead turned into a very petty, strangely detailed, and unusually slappy agreement that mirrors the chaotic vibe that came to characterize Swalwell's later political stunts. Most summary dissolutions sum up the property, right? It says, okay, you get the house, you get the car, you get part of the IRA, you get this, you get the bank account, whatever, right? You split the assets, okay? Well, they didn't really have any assets. So they got stupid and petty on things that aren't worth anything. Listen to this. Household goods were divided mutually, okay? Instead of filing items in an itemization, right? Nearly every single item and object that the couple owned. They did that, but they actually individually put their names on each one. So for instance, he was adamant about keeping the napkin rings, the kind that you can buy at probably Walmart or Target for $2.49. Yeah, those. Then they fought over a can opener. That's right, a can opener. I don't even know if it was electric or if it was just one of the, ones on the top. Who knows? Then they wanted to split up serving bowls. That's right. A set of 6, you get 3, and I get 3. What? What are you talking about? This was like a Black Friday brawl between two people fighting over kitchen appliances. No, actually, I would sum it up more like two homeless people fighting over a cardboard box, okay? Even the Halloween decorations were treated like some type of high value marital assets requiring court level negotiations and documentations. It likely indicates a high level of contentiousness and mistrust, clearly. Fartswell demanded that the napkins, the napkin rings, the toasters, a warming tray, and a salad spinner be his. That's a little gay, isn't it? Right? Typically, you give the woman all the things in the kitchen, not to be chauvinistic, but really, how many guys are going to be like, I don't care what you say, I want the napkin holders. That's right, I'm taking those napkin holders. Melissa apparently was not trusting of Eric, needing to have everything in writing that she would get, and then she wanted the can opener. She also wanted the blender, a cutting knife, and yes, a broken TV stand. Is this Sanford and Son? Like, what is happening here? Next, they split sets of bowls and glassware. Again, half to them, to one half, half to the other, which is completely not normal, okay? For a man who later styled himself as a natural leader and foreign policy expert, the divorce paints a picture of stunning emotional immaturity and a comically low confliction resolution IQ. Take this for example. They had a Toyota Camry, okay? Decent car, whatever. The car was a 2008 Toyota Camry. They owed $29,588 on a 2008 Camry. Now, let's go back into the memory bank. Remember, I'm an expert in automotive sales and management. I spent 14 years in the business. If I would have saw Fartswell coming, I would have just destroyed him. I would have made a fortune on this guy because he's obviously pretty stupid. For anyone to be that far upside down, if you don't know what upside down means, that means that you owe more on your vehicle than it's worth. I'm sure some people have probably found themselves in that position, right? But if you owe $29,000 on a 2008 Toyota Camry and a 2008 Toyota Camry and a divorce in 2010, okay, let's be fair. Let's say that the car was new. I don't know. Maybe they bought it used. Maybe they didn't. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say it was new. What was it worth? Maybe 19, 18,000 at that time, brand spanking new. And they financed it. So I'm assuming he had pretty bad credit. Probably didn't put any money down. And so therefore, $29,000, basically $30,000. As soon as you drive that Camry off the lot, take 28% depreciation off the bat right away, immediately. So 19,000 times 28%, I don't know the math right now, but the car's worth about $16,517 the second you title it and roll it off the lot. So now you have a car that's worth $17,000 that you owe $29,000 on. He probably did 72 or 84 months financing, but I don't want to get into the weeds. So anyway, that's how stupid he is to have that kind of money. Then they worked out an agreement that I've never heard about. I have never heard of an agreement like this. Swalwell agreed to pay the payment, which was $538 a month, and, quote, try to assume the loan. But if Toyota Financial won't approve the assumption, then his ex-wife at the time, Melissa, would be stuck with the first $3,250 of any leftover debt. I don't know how you do partial contracts, okay? When you sign a contract, you have a signed contract. That's it, okay? You can't do anything else other than that. Now, you can refinance it, but then again, what lender would want to refinance a vehicle that they're $8,000 flipped in, or upside down in, as we call it in the business? This clause is so financially chaotic that it feels like a metaphor for Swalwell's entire political career. Car lenders rarely ever allow a universal loan assumption. What that's known as basically is called a straw purchase, okay? Meaning that this plan was so much guaranteed to fail. If the car was underwater, which again explains owing more than what it's worth, which is the agreement applies, then this means that Melissa agreed to potentially pay thousands of dollars to cover a vehicle that she wasn't even going to keep. I'm surprised they didn't cut the car in half and say, you have the front half and you have the back half. That's not going to do them much good either, now is it? The mysterious $10,000 loan to someone named Paul Mandel. Swalwell alone assumes responsibility for a $10,000 personal loan to someone named Paul Mandel. No details and explanation. But here's the weird twist to this. Swalwell and Paul Mandel are both credited as executive producers in the new 2025 R-rated film Words of War. The film is about a, quote, journalist, Anna, a brave crusader fighting for an independent voice in Putin's Russia. You can't make this stuff up. Mandel, a Yale graduate and founder of Concero Group LLC, is not a random personal acquaintance. He is a politically connected Washington insider and New York lawyer and entrepreneur. Why Swalwell owed him $10,000 in 2010 and why it appears with zero explanation remains to be unanswered. Given Swalwell's crazy later track record of questionable judgment as a congressman, the omissions in the summary dissolution deserve some more scrutiny. Despite earning a salary of around $73,000 a year before Congress now, $73,000 a year as an Alameda County Deputy District Attorney, and despite being married for just 2 years, the absence of basic financial items is highly unusual. There are no bank accounts, there's no cash on hand, there's no savings accounts, there's no stock portfolios. Swalwell lists only his Alameda County Acera pension. Melissa gets the wedding and engagement rings, a 401k that she already had, and an IRA. That's it. Public records often reveal more about a politician than their speeches ever will. Eric Fartswell'S case, his 2010 summary dissolution, provides a real, oddly prophetic snapshot of his temperament, his priorities, and his lack of judgment. Now, let's talk about something else here, okay? Let's look at this as a different way. This is a 6-term congressman. A 6-term congressman. He's been in office for 12 years. That's $174,000 a year times 12. That's a little over $2 million. That's $2,088,000. He has no assets. He has no bank accounts. He has nothing, even back then, and yet he's still broke. He's lying about mortgages. He's lying about living in California when he actually lives in D.C., and get this, he still has tons of credit card debt, and he still has his original student loans from college, okay? This guy is an emotional retard, okay? He really, truly is. He's an intellectually disadvantaged, emotional retard. No offense to anyone that may have a child that has mental deficiencies, but he clearly does, okay? So do the math. If he makes that much money, that means that he's made over $2 million in 12 years. Decent amount of money. Nothing that I've ever made even close to that. And yet, he has nothing to show for it? I don't understand this. Although, he was banging a Chinese spy for God knows how long. Could he be getting his money from a completely different source? I don't know. Maybe the CCP? Maybe the Chinese government? Is he doing some kind of illegal stuff? I really hope they do a cavity search on this idiot, because making that much money for that many years and not having anything to show for it, well, you know what they say, follow the money. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this, the SNAP program, okay? The SNAP program absolutely needs to be reformed 100%. I went on X before the shutdown was over, and I said no shutdown should end until there's reform guaranteed in the SNAP program, okay? I want you to listen to Brooke Collins right here and listen to what she says.
On day one, when I was sworn in, which was earlier this year in February, the very first thing I did was send letters to every single state in America and said, never before has the federal government asked for the data, but it is a new day. President Trump is the president. We know there's a lot of fraud. We need to help partner with you all to figure out how to make sure that this money and these benefits go to those who truly need it and not rife with fraud and corruption. 29 states, mostly the red states, responded with their data sets February, March, April. So the numbers that you're talking through, those are numbers that we have been collecting and analyzing since early summer, late spring. The fact that this spotlight shined on SNAP has allowed us to talk about it. But here's the most unbelievable news I have really just over the last few days, that 5,000 dead people, that was just 1 month. The number is closer to 186,000 deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. Now that is what
186,000 dead people are still receiving money from SNAP.
we're really going to start clamping down on. 500,000 are getting 2. But here's the really stunning thing. This is just data from those 29 mostly red states. Can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data, what we're going to find?
I bet you it's well over 1 million. Why do you think Arizona, which is a red state, but we have a stolen government here, but why do you think Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kentucky, again, that's a red state, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, and Oregon, and I think there's probably even a few more. Let's see. Yeah, Rhode Island, Washington, and Wisconsin. Why do you think that they have not cooperated with Brooke Collins and USDA as far as these subpoenas are concerned? Because they know that they're dead to rights. They know that the fraud is there. So 29 states said, okay, we understand. Red states, here you go. Boom. Look through it all, right? Let's clean up the system. But not these. Nope, not these blue states. So if they found 186,000 just in dead people in the 29 red states, just imagine what the numbers are in the blue states. I mean, we're talking millions, probably. Millions.
It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. And that's the next step here.
So what they're going to do, and check this out, this is so awesome. At some point, okay, well, first off, let's say this. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, there was a provision in that bill that forced people on SNAP, welfare, whatever, to now work 20 hours a week in order to receive benefits. 20 hours a week is not a lot, okay? Get off your fat asses and go get a job for 20 hours a week. It's not a big deal. So that provision took place November 1st of this month, all right? So here's what's going to happen. And I don't know when it's going to happen. Maybe December, maybe January, February, but it's going to happen very soon. They're going to shut down SNAP throughout the entire country temporarily for maybe a week, week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever. And they're going to tell every single person to reapply to the SNAP program and show proof of citizenship. There it is, folks. Grift over. Grift over as soon as they do that. And she just said, if you listen right here at the very end, I don't want to play the whole thing. Listen right here at the very end.
For many years.
Oops,
I mean, I think I covered.
Wait, where is it? It was in the other video here. I'll play it for you real quick. You can hear it in the very, very end. She says, we're going to redo the entire program. Listen.
Benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through finally rebuild this program, have everyone reapply for their benefit, make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can't survive without it. And that's the next step here.
There it is. The grift is over. Okay? The grift is over. Now, I'm going to play you something. It's kind of hard to hear. I might even have to hold the thing up to the speaker here. But I want you to listen to this woman out of New Jersey calling to check of what her balance is in her SNAP account. You will literally throw up. Okay? I want you to listen closely to this. Try to hear it. It's really hard. It's a bad recording.
Press 1. Para español. For EBT, press 1. Enter the last 4 digits of your phone. Enter your PIN. Your SNAP balance is $23,235.
Did you hear that? $23,500 something dollars. I want you to listen closely.
$200. Balance is $23,235. Your SNAP balance is $23,235.
$23,500 in this disgusting creature's Snap account. 23 grand. Some people don't even have that in their retirement investment accounts. I mean, it's sick. It is rotten to the core. Why do you think there's 20-something states that are literally refusing? They're like, no, sorry, we're not going to show you. Because we've been grifting off of the system and taxpayers for 20, 30, 40 years. Okay? That's why you're not getting it. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're probably going to have to tell these blue states that we're cutting you off 100%, and unless you answer the subpoena and give us the records, you're not going to have SNAP benefits. In other words, make it hurt. Put the pain on those states so that they comply, so that we can finally clean up the system. I mean, it's unbelievable, the amount of fraud. And, they're laughing about it. They're laughing about it. You can hear the woman in the background giggling because she's got $23,000 in her SNAP account. Just sickening. It makes you sick. I told you, you'll want to vomit when you hear it because it's just amazing and it's sick. So anyway, that is what I wanted to cover for tonight. Remember, in the other segment, we're going to have this absolutely, really in detailed information pertaining to Thomas Matthew Crooks. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. He was a patsy, just like Oswald was. No way this kid was a lone wolf. No way this kid acted alone. And they lied. The FBI lied. They said, well, he had no social media footprint. Really? Well, you'll see, and you'll find out real soon on that one. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.